Ruth McCracken and Trisetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business.
Hello. Welcome. Hey, Trisetta, how are you?
Ruth, I am doing fantastic. How are you today?
This whole week in general has been a week of eventful rides, and I'm just so ever grateful to be part here in this Breaking Boundaries episode 20 and unfolding what we've been talking about for the several weeks. And I'm really excited to just jump right on in because I'm sure you all have been anticipating and just wavering and saying, what do Breaking Boundaries have to offer today? And I'm glad you asked. While you're waiting for us to unfold what we're going to be talking about today, what we've been talking about in the last 4 weeks in this particular series on five P's to getting paid, go ahead and grab your favorite beverages, because this time it's going to be different. It's going to be different. It's going to be unique. And we want to take the time and massage this through, but we want to do it where we're bringing more folks to the party. Go ahead and go through this with us in this remarkable journey and experience, and help us elevate the algorithm that we're looking to break through in a way that we're captivating thousands of households and lives. They're going to find this and be able to just take it as a revelation, take it as grace, take it in a way that is hitting them differently, although they may have heard it 1,000 times. But for some reason, when Trisetta said what she needed to say at that very second, in that very moment of hour, it just hit it different, right? Have you ever had that before? You can hear something over and over again, and then for whatever reason, it just hit different. Well, for those who are coming in for the first time, I am Ruth, and I am the founder. I don't know why I said that. I am the founder of RAM International & Co. And, high performers come to us in HR, mid-levels and up. They come because they wanted to go ahead and just start stretching some unfamiliar muscles from being unrecognized to standing out as superstars, as they truly are. And most importantly, be able to attract those premium companies so that they can be able to build or maintain that lifestyle they truly deserve.
And I am Trisetta Anel Washington, founder of Profitable Productivity. And what we do is help ambitious women in leadership overcome burnout and overwhelm by using an approach that combines time management strategies with intentional self-care practices, or what I like to call balanced ambition. So I draw on my 25 plus years of experience in operations management and provide tailored solutions that increase productivity and create sustainable success, empowering women to achieve their goals without sacrificing their health or their well-being. And I'm so excited to be with you all today to talk about our topic.
I love it. Yes, let's just jump right on in, because here's the truth. You're here because you're wanting to disrupt certain patterns when it comes to how you're fulfilling your finances, how the money is flowing. Sometimes the money be acting funny, and you're like, what is it about me that I need to shift? What is it about me that I need to become more aware of or overcome in order to become that superstar that Ruth is explaining that you are? You truly are. I do believe everyone has a super genius that's just waiting to emerge out of their full light being self. So with that being said, I want you to be able to know, in the 5 P's of getting paid, we talked about this, but the topic today is the importance of preparing your pitch. Right now, last week we did talk about the importance of preparation when it comes to, basically pitching yourself to a raise or a promotion. You want to be able to prepare and practice, right? And let me know in the comments if you find this to be an area that you find a struggle in, but now that you're going to be coming on this live with us and hear it in it differently. So I want you to pay close attention. So before you go, for example, and get in front of your hiring manager, in front of a hiring manager, or speaking to my peers, the talent acquisition partners or the recruiters, you want to be able to have that connection with the decision makers. You want to be able to paint a practice for yourself. And sometimes I'm the type of person that I have to do some kind of audio or maybe call up a friend or say it out loud to myself, right? Am I using the right set of, activities that I know that's going to help me, do some sort of creativity with my audio, with my monotone? And am I sounding as though I'm reading a book, or am I sounding as though I'm connecting, having that synergy, right? You ever have that opportunity? You ever, interested? I know you probably can relate, where if you are maybe listening to a podcast or perhaps in a dinner, you could be live face to face, and somehow there's just the way how they're delivering it is like they may not be the type that has that social skills or just have that conversational way of being able to do it. So that thinks in the back of your head, maybe this would be a great way to start practicing out loud. So when you get in amongst of others, it seems to be authentic. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. When matter of fact, today, so I have one of the contracts I have is with a government, a state government entity, and I had to be on a webinar today. And I have noticed that whenever I have to get on these calls for this client, the webinars, the people are reading, they have very verbose slides, and they're reading reading a script. They're reading the slides, but then they elaborate, but it's very obvious that they are reading a script. It is not, it's not connecting. There's that very monotone, like you were talking about. And so we want to, we want to talk to you today about practicing for your pitch, but before you can even practice, you first have to prepare, right? We talked all about preparing, but this is a different type of preparing, because you want to be able to, like Ruth said, connect with people. And if you go in blind, you're likely to sound kind of monotone. You're likely to not be able to connect. You might stumble all over your words, right? So if you don't prepare, it can really have a negative impact on the outcome of your pitch.
First impressions. Yeah. First impressions matter, right?
Exactly. You won't be able to communicate the key messages that you really want to get across. Yeah. You might not have the confidence as you start because what happens if we make a mistake or we start stumbling, then that impacts our confidence, and the less confidence we have, the more we stumble, right? You won't be able to focus, and the end result is you don't get the outcome that you desire. So preparing before you even practice is going to be really crucial here.
Yeah. I can agree with you 100%. And let me tell you this, I'm going to be the one to first admit that when I know to be true that just having that delivery was something I had to practice. I've gone through personally hundreds of job interviews, and not becoming intentional while you're having these type of conversations really, really matters, because it matters to you so that you can be mindful as to, am I coming in the right approach? Am I leveraging what I'm looking to captive or hold as an attention within this conversation, right? Which is a great way for us to segue on being able to, well, Ruth, you and Tracetta are onto something. So the next thing I would want you to do on top of practicing is crafting your pitch. Do you have a way where you already know by the time you get into that meeting or getting into that inner circle, do you start with a potential, icebreaker, like what we like to call a hook? You want to begin a pitch with an attention grabbing, like I said, something that that may have some sort of common grounds that they can basically, relish with you on. And it's like you all are connecting. Let me know in the comments that that the conversation is going to be real short and brief, that if you are trying to be in a conversation with someone, but there's some sort of disconnect. There's some sort of where there's no common ground, that you all are not finding something in common to really hold dear, and then finding a way where you're able to connect with that person, right? Over the past year, there's certain things that I know I've been able to try to overcome, and I still am in practice every day. And for me, one of the things that I knew to be true was communication, period. Just having to extend my way of how to have a genuine conversation and being intentional on whether I talk too much or whether I give that person an opportunity to be able to not just listen, but also for me to allow them to interact by asking certain questions, asking some right questions where I'm captivating them, have them curious and start thinking. What else, Trisetta?
Right. So, so like you were saying, you got to go in with something. You got to start off strong,
Yeah.
right? Because you're asking for money. So you need to be able to grab the attention of whoever you're pitching doing your pitch to. So, you might want to, one of the best ways to do that is to highlight a major accomplishment that you've had within the organization that has brought value to the company. And we do have for each segment, for each element of your pitch, we have some very specific examples, right? So caveat here, just put a little caveat here. The examples that we're going to use are very specific. You can take the structure, but formulate it in a way that fits your specific accomplishments and your specific organization, right?
100%. I agree.
So, the first example is for a hook might be something like, over the past year, I've consistently exceeded my sales targets by 20% and helped to bring in over $1 million in new business. Today, I'd like to discuss the possibility of a promotion to recognize my contributions and allow me to take on additional responsibilities.
I like that.
You come in with what, the value you brought to the organization, right? That, like, your accomplishments, the value you brought to the organization, and what the ask is right off the bat.
That makes sense to me. The framing, just coming with that, again, with the right intention and how to harness what you've been able to bring to the table as value, because that's the result that they want to hear anyway. Because if for you to say you just want to increase your bag, or you want to be able to get some merit because of whatever, maybe you do have personal goals that you want to reach, and that's fine and dandy, and you're expressing that to them. But we want to be able to let them know what's in it for them. Like, what's in it for me as the business? What's in it for me as the department? What's in it for me as the organization that you're maybe in you're co-creating with? And I think that's a powerful stuff. What else can they add in this framework while they're really wanting to be able to sell themselves and practicing, like we already said, and prepping? And now we're wanting them to craft this genuine way of bringing their pitch to reality. What else can they maybe use as a practical way of doing this?
Right. So first, we talked about the hook, right? Now, once you've got them hooked in, you've got that attention grabber, then you want to focus on the future. What a lot of people tend to do is just kind of list off of the achievements that they have had, right? And that's all well and good, but that doesn't necessarily speak to your future performance. So you want to highlight your accomplishments and then emphasize your potential to contribute to the company or organization even more in the future.
No, that matters, because they want to know who that forward-thinking version of you is, right? Who is that change maker? What is that mentor or that training type of leadership style that you have in the strategic way of viewing things, that visionary, right? Being able to craft it in a way that you're not just speaking on your past. You're not speaking maybe on a really great milestone that you achieved currently with the team, which is all great. Don't get me wrong. And I know Trisetta means well too, because we both mean well. But now we want to point you, we want to be able to point the whole narrative at this point, because now we're at a point where we want to not just hold their attention, we want to get their buy-in, right?
Right.
We want to get them to be like, she's onto something, or he's onto something, or you got my attention now,
Right.
right? And now you're showing up as this full integrity leader that what's up? It's time for, to exchange and reward in a way that I can now elevate more and strive for more, because then I'm able to do more with what's inside of my hands or in my pockets, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And if you think about it, Ruth, we talked about in the very first week picture, right? Like creating a vision for what it is that you want. So this is what you're doing. Now you've got to do the same. You did it for yourself. Now
Gotta do
you've
the
got to
work.
do the same
Do
thing for
the
the
work.
decision maker. You've got
Yes.
to paint a picture of a future that they can have for the department, for the organization or company as a whole, that includes you in a new role or in a greater capacity, right? So here's an example of how you might frame that. So while I'm proud of the work I've done so far, I'm even more excited about the opportunities ahead. I have several new ideas for increasing efficiency and driving revenue that I believe could be valuable to the company. With the promotion, I would have the resources and authority to implement these ideas and make an even bigger impact.
Ooh, that's good. That's listen, and then when you're putting that into a way where now that, oh wow, she's talking about results, she's talking about what she's championed, and you're now bringing them in as, okay, now I've been crystal clear as to, I'm not just no more so asking for a handout or asking or commanding for a raise or a merit, or saying that I'm going to go ahead, I'm looking at my what high values am I bringing, what high profile visibility am I interacting with, and what results am I presenting to them if I'm doing training and development, or if I'm perhaps, like many of my clients when they're coming in, it's like, Ruth, I find it to be a struggle on how to frame my narrative, how to really describe my worth and when it comes to my tool house in a way that has me being a magnet to those companies who see my outcomes as a true way of building some of those gaps or unleashing some of those bottlenecks within their current organization. So I think that's a great way to even tell them what would be the cherry or the la creme of the la creme once they've done all this and they've been able to kind of craft or start building this pitch. Trisetta.
Yeah. So, all right, we've got our hook. We've painted a picture for the future, right? Now you want to be specific, right? So you want to provide some really concrete examples or data that's going to support your request. For example, right, here's our example. Last quarter, I successfully led a team of 5 to complete a major project on time and under budget. This project resulted in a 30% increase in revenue for our department. I believe this demonstrates my ability to effectively manage projects and contribute to the company's bottom line, and I would like to discuss a raise to reflect my contributions.
Yes.
Right. And that could be promotion, whatever. These are just examples. Take the structure and personalize it for your specific scenario.
And yes, and not only that, but we figured this. I can attest for my son, I'm sure Trisetta as well. When you're getting the framework and you're starting to build this, way of how to increase your way of getting paid, now you want to be able to customize it. I always tell my clients, when it comes to writing about yourself and really elevating your actual brand when it comes to your career, you want to be able to stand out. You don't want to be able to sound or even look vanilla, but you want to, every now and again, you want to go ahead and create a banana split. You want to add some sparkles. You want to add some creativity to kind of sparken up the radiance of what you're trying to describe. Because words alone may tend to just appear to be just plain Jane, but when you add some of your creativity and being able to add that value that's missing and say it in a way, because you got to be able to know how you're who you're speaking to, speaking in their language, and understanding that the person that you're talking to and what ways can you convey that you have done this and this is the outcome. And I love how the framework we're displaying here. Let us know in the comments if this has been massively helpful by adding a 1 in the comment and saying, no, I like this. And if you're interested in even maybe perhaps getting this as a PDF, just go ahead and comment below that you would love to, hashtag framework or something. So that way we know it and identify that, and we'll personally have that generated for you all. But meanwhile, we definitely want to let you know what would be the final, or what ways can you kind of close out with a bang, right?
Right. So then before you close out, and actually, in that conversation, you want to emphasize your commitment to the organization, right? Loyalty in companies is very low. So you want to make it really clear to the decision maker, whoever you're meeting with, that you're dedicated to the company and you're interested in growing with the company. So that may sound a little something like this. I'm truly invested in the success of this company, and I'm eager to continue growing my career here. I believe that a promotion or raise would help me contribute even more to the company's goals and allow me to take on new challenges. I'm committed to working hard and making a positive impact in whatever role I'm in. Right. So you want to be, again, you're painting that picture of a vision of you being a part of the company for at least, the near future. You're not talking about running out, and leaving them in 6 months, right?
It sounds like what I'm hearing is, Ruth, you're basically just creating your story. You're creating a story, and you're creating a narrative that is grabbing their attention, number one, but also you're adding that charismatic way of intriguing and involving the people part of you to connect with them. Again, I know we talked about, and I'm re-emphasizing it because I know some of you all are probably thinking it as well. And go ahead and shoot us in the comments that you're saying, you know what? I see the flow of this. I see the radiance on emphasizing, on really taking a deeper dive as to what exactly am I expressing, and expressing it in a way that I love how you're wanting to showcase that you're invested, you're committed, and you're showing loyalty. The fact that I heard earlier that it's being looked upon as very low because it's not popular these days, right? It's not showcasing in our day and time, but this is the way you're wanting to stand apart. This is one of the ways, it's part of the ways of how to be unique, how to create that stamina in your value that's now being projected and being recognized. And most importantly, this is one of the ways of getting rewarded and being able to kind of open up the ears of the person who's listening to pay close attention, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now that you've gone through the process of crafting your pitch, right? The structure of your pitch, and you've come up with some phraseologies that really highlight your skills and highlight your accomplishments and paint that picture. Now you want to go through the process of actually practicing it. You don't want to go, just write it out and go, okay, I did what I wrote it out, I'm good. And you just go in there without having rehearsed it. So you definitely want to rehearse your pitch so that you can ensure that it is very polished and professional sounding, that it just flows. You don't want it to be just a kind of, like we were talking earlier, the monotone. And people can tell that you are just saying a script, right?
Yeah, because now you've lost their attention. They probably went off and start thinking of other things on top of their head, what they need to do to create for dinner, or oh my gosh, were they able to did so and so was able to walk the dog on the break? And now they're distracted. What I'm getting at, my point is, if you're not paying attention and not engaging and interacting and getting it to where you're basically building up you're building up, I wouldn't even call it a case, but that's the word that come up in my head for now. You're building up that foundation. You're showing up as your true value self when it comes to your skill sets, what comes with what your outcomes are, what the results that you're bringing. I love that.
Yeah.
And putting it to work. Yes.
Yeah. So when it comes to practicing, you can do several different things. You can record yourself. You could do an audio recording. I recommend doing a video recording. Set up your phone somewhere and, stand and actually, and if you can, don't sit whenever you're pitching, because nervousness, you want to be able to actually move and flow. So, stand if you can. Plus, it gives you a better presence. So set up your phone somewhere and record yourself giving your pitch so that you can see your body language. You can see your facial expressions, and you can see if you get nervous around the time when you actually do the ask, or like what areas where you need to polish it. You could practice with a friend or a family member and get them to give you feedback on specific phrases that you say, or, like, I don't really like that word, or I don't really like the way you do this. Maybe do it this way, right? So get some feedback from some live human beings.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend not trying to memorize your pitch verbatim, like word by word, right? You want to focus on memorizing key phrases rather than the entire speech, because what happens especially if you don't have time to really rehearse to the point where it's like if someone squeezed you, it just automatically comes out.
Not squeeze you.
Right? Like someone squeezes you and your pitch just comes out, right?
Right.
You want to am
I hearing the squeezing part? I just for some reason just thought of a balloon. When you're blowing the balloon and you're then talking out, it sounds like a squeaky voice. Now they're just lost in the sauce on what exactly you're trying to say, or what are you looking to fulfill out of this conversation or this video practicing. So that's good to hear that you're saying to be mindful of all of that. That's fabulous.
Yeah. So if you learn the key phrases, and then you can build everything together. That way, if you don't know it like well enough verbatim where you would get stuck, right? Because what happens when you try to memorize a speech verbatim and you get stuck somewhere, then it throws you off, and that it kills your confidence. Yeah. So focus more on specific phraseologies rather than trying to memorize the entire speech. And then, it's just a fact of the matter. When we have to get in front of people and speak, period, most people get nervous, especially when you're talking about money conversations.
It's a sensitive topic. Would you agree? I mean,
say again.
It's a sensitive topic. Would you agree on? Yeah.
It is. And so there are just a few little quick tips to minimize that nervousness or get through the nervousness. Is first, before you even go in, visualize success. Visualize yourself giving the speech or giving your pitch successfully, right? There is so much power. We don't have time to get into it today, but when you visualize something, you're firing up the reticular activating system of your brain, which it does not know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you allow yourself to go there in your mind, then it's like your body thinks that it has already happened, right? So it naturally, it will come out much more naturally when you do it in person. Right?
And I know it sounds easier than said, but I promise you, though, my friend, if you do this and you put this to practice and make it consistent, it's just like going to the gym.
Yeah.
You're wanting to create and build or rebuild or reinvent your 21 self six-pack again. And that's if you were active and maybe in somebody's swimming team or part of the basketball team. Well, my point is, you want to be able to see it just fruition. You want to be able to see it actually come into your reality. And then once you discipline that, it's a discipline. We talked about this all the time.
Yeah.
Creating those habits. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Something else you can do is deep breathing. Do a really quick deep breathing meditation before you enter the room or before the people come in, whatever the case may be, to help when we get nervous, our breathing becomes shallow and it impacts our nervous system. And like I said, we don't have time to get it all into all of that today, but just know that if you slow down and take a few deep breaths, it can calm your nervous system down and help to calm your nerves. And then of course, practice, because practice leads to confidence. So the more you practice, the more confident you will be. And the more confident you are, the more people will feel that, and you'll be much more likely to be successful in your pitch.
I like that practice, because the point of this, as you all know, I've heard it to where they say it would be after 21 days of doing something over and over, it then extended to 31, then 91. Even now it's, why do you think it's extending? It's extended because they realize that people are evolving. And if you're wanting to hold on to something that you know is really masterful, it's definitely inviteful. Most importantly, it's providing the outcome and it's giving out that value. You want to continue to practice it. You want to be able to be fully intentional about it, fully aware, right, as to what exactly you're looking to maintain as a day-to-day ritual, as a day-to-day regimen, and adding this, and especially when you get the outcome that you're getting, right? Because you all probably be like, oh my gosh, I actually put it to work. And then when it comes out, it's almost as though you found yourself standing out amongst the matrix, that now you're facing these special agents and you're like, okay, I got this, right? I love it. So let's go ahead and recap. We want to be able to share with you what you all came in as from the 5 P's of getting you paid and really being able to practice your pitch. And we talked about how to be able to do that, how we started off with fully explaining to you all on how to, most important, I'm going here through my notes, importance of preparing your pitch. And we walked you through on what that exactly is, why is it so valuable? Why is it so relevant? And why is it so important? Number one, right? And we talked about how to crafting your pitch, being able to have a framework and personalize it. We talk about how to do that framework. And if you all, again, just comment, you definitely will love #framework, and we'll be more than glad to generate this so that you can start putting this to work. Because I want to hear your stories. I want you to be able to come back and share that. It would be a disservice for you to hold all that wonderful, witty idea and not share it out loud, right? And that brings us to, that's why we mentioned crafting your pitch. And then also practicing your pitch, saying it out loud, saying it amongst others, because then that's how you're now rewiring to refire new ways of thinking about you and how you see yourself and how you're now elevating your confidence. And most importantly, you want to be able to just show your true self, start becoming who you truly are, right? And getting rewarded for it. So if you all find this to be definitely super powerful, definitely an eye opener, just greatly, packed up with many benefits in a way where you're not going to start applying, why not share it? Go ahead and share it, and go ahead and let us disrupt the algorithm together as we elevate and attract and help impact thousands of households and lives. And with that being said, in closing, I love to always close. You all know this already. If not, well, you will be the first. This will be your first time hearing this. Whatever you're doing now with your hands, yes, do it with all of your might. Do it with all of your strength. And most importantly, do it with all of your power. Yes. Be the best that you can be, my friend. It's been amazing. I love you all. And, take care. And we will see you all next time.
Bye for now.
Join and subscribe with career strategist Ruth McCracken and business strategist Trissetta Washington to the Breaking Boundaries podcast each week. You too can experience the limitless potential of rewriting rules and creating an extraordinary future for yourself.